Hello, welcome to Verbling. Hi there, I'm Teacher Oakley. Today we're going to continue looking at the perfect tenses. 2 days ago we looked at present perfect, yesterday past perfect, today future perfect, of course. Today we'll be looking at the future perfect tense. We'll be looking at exactly how to form or construct the future perfect tense in sentences. And we'll look at a couple of uses, how and why we use this verb tense construction in sentences. And then we'll look at examples. And then you guys will make some sentences to show me that you can use the future perfect tense. Fortunately, so far this week here at Verbling, we've looked at present perfect, which admittedly can be a bit tricky. Past perfect has its quirks, its special points. Very true. Future perfect is actually quite simple. Perhaps this week, moving from present to past to future perfect, we've actually gotten easier as we move along. Anyway, I'd like to greet some students here. Hello, John. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. Hi, John.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fair to middling.
No.
I'm doing okay. How are you? Where are you from, John?
I'm from Brazil.
Brazil. Okay.
Brazil.
Welcome, welcome to the class. Nice to meet you,
Thank
John.
you. Nice to meet you too.
And hello, Pablo.
Hello, teacher. How are you?
Pretty good. How you doing, Pablo?
Very well, teacher.
Oh, that's good news. All right, great. Nice to have you aboard, Pablo. And okay, and I'd also like to welcome Alejandro.
Hello, teacher.
Hi. How you doing, Alejandro? Good morning. It's morning where I am.
I'm fine.
Having my coffee. Alejandro, are you having your coffee?
Where are you from, teacher?
I'm from Vermont in the United States, but right now I live in the Philippines.
Okay, what time is there?
10 in the morning.
Okay, 10 in the morning?
See? Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's we're ahead of almost everyone in the world. It's great. I feel like a time traveler. What are you guys laughing at? Hello, Oksana. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. And good morning to Mai. Hello, Mai.
Hello, teacher.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Great, Mai. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do a little screen share here with y'all. That's my southern accent, my American southern accent, by the way. With y'all, you all. I'm going to do a little screen share, and we're going to look at how the future perfect is formed. Well, actually, future perfect verb tense has two forms. No surprise there. All the future tenses have two forms. Nothing new there. With will and be going to. In the future perfect, will have done and be going to have done. The good news. Yay, yes, you're learning English and there's good news. Unlike simple future forms, we don't care which form we use. Okay, I want to be perfectly clear here. There are times in English when it is not mandatory to use one form or another. Sometimes it doesn't matter. You can use different verb forms, not change the meaning, be grammatically correct and sound, intelligent, and absolutely wonderful. Future tenses have two forms. It makes a difference in the simple future. It can change the meaning. The simple future will do, okay, I will work Monday morning is a prediction, basically. That's how it's conceived in the English-speaking mind. I will be going to work on Monday morning means that the speaker believes it to be a plan. All right, slight difference in meaning, slight difference that can actually have an impact on the meaning of the sentence in the simple future. However, in the future perfect, yay, we just don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference because the future perfect has a very specific purpose, which we will get to in just a moment. First, how to form the future perfect. Will, okay, plus have, will have, always will have, plus the past participle of the verb, okay? So, let's look at how that looks at a sentence. You, the subject noun, will have perfected. There it all is. That is the verb. Although there's three words there, that's the verb. You will have perfected what? The object noun, your English. There it is. And then we have the time phrase, and by the time you come back from the U.S. Okay, in the question form, as always, in English, when we want to form a question with a verb tense that has an auxiliary. Auxiliaries are will and have here. They're helper verbs. They help us to form a verb tense in the main verb, which is perfected here. All right. As always, when we make a question, when we form a question, we take the first auxiliary and we transpose it. We reverse it with the subject noun. Will you have perfected your English by the time you come back from the U.S.? If the subject noun includes determiners like articles or pronouns and other adverbs or adjectives, then that gets included here too. Will the enormous big black dog have perfected his English by the time he comes back from the U.S.? Okay, so the entire subject noun construction would fit in here after. The key thing is after the first auxiliary, these helper verbs. In the negative, you will not have perfected. Notice that the not always comes after the first auxiliary. And of course, in this negative construction in spoken English, of course, we're going to reduce the function words here. Of course, I could say you'll, as in you will, contracted, but I probably wouldn't. Most people would, of course, say won't. Okay, won't is the contracted form of will not, and believe me, you're not going to hear anybody say will not in English. It's much easier to say won't. You won't. You won't have perfected your English. Spoken English, believe me, we're going to use contractions wherever we can. Basically, as far as contractions go, the rule is spoken English, use them. Use them, use them. Use them, don't abuse them. In formal written English, you want to use full form. In spoken English, please use the contracted form. Even the president does. Okay. Will, have, and the past participle. There's another form that serves the same purpose. There's another way to do this, and that is this crazy long thing. The verb to be, conjugated properly. I am, he is, it is, and are. They are, we are, you are. All right, first the verb to be, conjugated, and then going to have, and then the past participle. All right, so it looks a little something like this. Subject noun, you, are going to have perfected, and yes, that entire construction is the verb. Are going to have perfected your English by the time you come back from the U.S. What is the difference between you are going to have perfected your English by the time you come back from the U.S. and you will have perfected your English by the time you come back from the U.S.? What's the difference? Oh, thank heavens above, absolutely nothing. Ha ha! There is no difference. So don't worry your pretty little heads about it, because there's no need. Unlike the simple future, you don't have to worry about future perfect. It doesn't change the meaning in the sentence. There's no special conditions. Thankfully, we're going to keep this lesson nice and simple. Although there are two forms, they're used interchangeably, whatever you feel like as the speaker or writer, whatever you feel like doing. Again, notice in the question form, we're going to take the first. Okay, here we have basically a list of helper words or auxiliaries, but we're always going to take the first auxiliary and transpose it in a question transpose it, reverse it with the subject noun. Are you going to have perfected your English by the time you come back from the U.S.? Just like that. And as always, not in a negative follows the first helper or the first auxiliary. There it is. And as I mentioned before, we're most likely going to contract the not. All right? You aren't. You aren't going to have perfected your English. By the way, American accent training here. This going to is often pronounced gonna. Gonna. G-O-N-N-A. Gonna. If we use going to as a main verb, we cannot reduce the pronunciation. All right? I'm going to Manila for Christmas. I can't say I'm gonna Manila for Christmas. That's just not gonna fly. That's just not gonna fly. Wow, I did that without even thinking about it. When I'm using it as an auxiliary, and there's another main verb, in this case we're looking at perfective in my example, gonna fly, fly is the main verb. So when we use it going to as an auxiliary in future tenses, for example, it often gets reduced to gonna. You aren't gonna have perfected. Gonna. That's it, Diana. And by the way, hello, Diana. Welcome to the class. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi, Diana. I'm pretty good. Pretty cool. How are you, Diana?
I'm fine. I have a deal. I didn't know that gamma is equal to going to have.
Well, excellent. Mission accomplished. I've taught one person something. Goodbye. I'm leaving now. Just kidding.
Okay, sorry.
I'm kidding with you, Diana. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia. Excellent. Beautiful. All right, Diana. Good. I hope I can teach you something else today as well. I'm going to try.
I'm learning new words.
All right. Well, I'll give it a try. All right. And I also want to say good morning to Heidi. Good morning, Heidi.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you, as always. And as always, nice to see David. Hey, David. Good to see you in class again. Hi, David. Oopsie. Oop. No vocals there. All right, David's shy. David's not really shy. I'm sure he's having a connection problem. I'm sure he'll be back. Come on back, David. Again, I must stress, it is possible to use either the will or the going to create future perfect with little or really actually don't worry about it at all. No difference in meaning. How or why do we use this? All right. Okay. Here we go. We use the future perfect to show a completed action before something in the future. Okay, meaning the future perfect expresses the idea that something occurs before another action. Here in this little diagram, the future perfect is represented by the little purple ball. There it is, floating around there, somewhere in the future, ahead of the present. Notice maybe we don't know exactly where it is in the future, but we do know one thing, and that is it happens before this gosh darn, this blasted purple X. All right? The purple X is a specific time in the future. Purple X, specific time. Or could be, purple X could be another action in the future. All right, so we can't, much like we use past perfect, we can't use past perfect unless we're talking about two things in the past. An action, maybe two separate actions, one that happens before the other, or an action and a time in the past. Future perfect, or reverse the whole thing, we're talking about two things. The circle, which is an action using future perfect tense, and another action which is represented by the X, which happens more in the future, or possibly a specific time which is mentioned in the sentence. All right, let's take a look, and then we're gonna give it a try. We're gonna, see that? We're gonna give it a try. Okay, that's simple future tense, by the way. All right, how does this look in real life? All right, well, here we go. By next November is your little purple X. There it is, next November. I will have received my promotion. Will have received, there's your circle. Okay, so he will have received his promotion before this purple X, or November. Okay. By the time he gets home, she is going to have cleaned the entire house. All right, using the other form. Again, it doesn't matter which form we use. So there's two things going on. If you notice, when we use future perfect tense, okay, there's a couple things going on. And also, please note that the other action, when this purple X, this may seem slightly counterintuitive. Again, this may seem slightly counterintuitive, but this purple X is he gets home. Now this may seem a little crazy, but English is crazy, but bear with me. He gets home, the thing that happens the most in the future, actually gets present tense. Notice, simple present. Gets, he gets, that's it. And the circle gets the future perfect tense, even though that happens closer to present, closer to now. Crazy? Maybe. But but this is the way we normally form it when we're talking about the X being a future action. It gets simple present tense. When it's an action, okay, maybe it's a time, like by next November, or I'm not going to finish this test by 3 o'clock. Maybe it's a time. There it is, 3 o'clock. We would have to assume, by looking at the sentence, it is not yet 3 o'clock, of course. All right, question form. Will she have learned enough Chinese to communicate before she moves to Beijing? There it is again. Okay, an action more in the future, but there it is. Simple present tense. Okay, next we have an example using an adverb. Sam is probably, there it is. See where it goes here? This is kind of important. It follows this first auxiliary. Sam is probably going to have completed the proposal by the time he leaves this afternoon. Simple present. All right, so if you want to throw in an adverb to modify the meaning of this verb, here's where it goes. This is never going to have, okay, been done. Oh, well, that's passive. Wait, I get ahead of myself. By the time I finish this course, I will have taken 10 tests. Notice that we have 2 clauses. It doesn't matter. I can put this clause first. I will have taken 10 tests by the time I finish this course. What's the difference? Not much. If we have the subordinate clause first, the clause which cannot be a sentence by itself, it can't because it doesn't make any sense. Won't make any sense if I just say, by the time I finish this course, and don't say anything else. Sounds like I'm a crazy person. It's not a complete sentence. It's not a complete thought. If the subordinate or dependent clause comes first, you got to put a little comma in there. Yeah, sure you do. If you're independent or an actual complete simple sentence, a complete idea, I will have taken 10 tests. If that comes first, you don't need a comma. But it doesn't make any difference, and this is very common to see in future perfect tense, a sentence, a compound or a complex sentence with 2 clauses. This is quite normal. Okay, how many countries are you going to have visited by the time you turn 50? By the time, notice the phrase, okay, to indicate a future time. Okay. That's enough of me babbling. I'm sick of talking. All right, time for you guys to show me what you can do. John, you are the first in the class, so I'm going to give you the sacred, burning, wonderful honor of trying this first.
Okay, so I give an example.
Please.
Okay, let me think about. Oh, I'm not very creative, so I will be. No.
Okay, keep going, John. You're doing great.
I will be rich by the time. No,
Oh,
no.
good.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I'm
correct.
ready.
I will be rich by the time I turn 30. No, it's not.
We have been.
I hope. I hope for your sake, John, that you are right.
I'm right. Oh.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's because I didn't use it the have. I used the be.
Yeah, that's right. I will be rich. So this is a nice prediction. I will be. That's right. This is a simple future. I will be rich by the time I turn 30. Now this is actually okay to do this. Okay. How could I do this with future perfect?
Okay,
John.
so I will have got a lot of money by the time I turn 30.
All right. Or how about I will have become? There's
Yeah.
another way to do it. But there's another way to do it. I will have become rich by the time I turn 30. All right.
Yeah.
That will work. All right. Okay. Okay. Pablo, you want to give this a try?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will have bought a house by the time or it could be before I get married.
Well, let's try it out. Go ahead and you guys, when you're trying your sentence, you want to experiment a little. That's okay. It helps me. It helps all of us. Okay.
Before
yeah.
I get married?
Pablo, you say that like you're really not confident about getting married.
No.
Pablo, I'm gonna talk to your girlfriend. Yeah, okay. I will have bought a house before I get married. So this obviously, very clearly, this action is happening before this action. This action is get in the simple present tense. Pablo,
Okay.
I think you got a winner here. I think this is going to work. All right. Nice job. All right. Thank you for using another connective, experimenting a little, and showing how this works. That's great. Thank you very much. Alejandro, you're up. Your turn.
Okay. I won't have learned English before Merry Christmas Day.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's take a look at this one. All right, a negative. Very good. Using won't. Will not. I will not have learned English. I like that he said won't. That's perfectly fine with me. I won't have learned English before Merry Christmas Day. Okay. Maybe you will, Alejandro. I don't know. All right. I think this is funny. All right. Merry Christmas Day. Of course, in normal English, we just say Christmas Day. But I think it's possible. I do. I think it's possible you may say Merry Christmas Day in a joking way, being a little bit funny. And I know Alejandro's a professional comedian. That's his job, right, Alejandro? You're live on stage, appearing at the Sands Casino in Las Vegas at 9 o'clock every night. Is that correct? No, not really. He won't have been on stage live at the Sands Casino by 10 o'clock tonight. Okay, I'm lying. Good job, Alejandro. Nice job. Oksana, guess what? It's your turn.
Okay. I won't have finished to read this book by next week.
I want to finish whatting this book?
Read this book.
No, I heard you say reading. Okay. Yes, you were right the first. When?
By next week.
Okay. I won't have finished reading it by next week. Okay. that's okay. Won't have past participle finished. Reading here is a gerund. Okay, it's actually acting as an object noun, and this is not part of the verb. The main verb here is finished, and so you know what? This is okay. You're talking with your purple X, your okay, is something in the future. So that's going to work, actually. That's pretty good. Quick shout out to Nader. Nader, I kind of saw you popping in and out. Hello. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm trying to see the shared screen, but I can't.
Okay. Hang on. Let me see if I can do anything.
Something with the connection, maybe.
Or maybe it's me. It's Nader, it's my mental stability. That's the problem. Okay. No, I hope not. Okay, we're all going to try this. No one gets off the hook. My?
Yes. I am going to change my shop after I finish my project.
Okay, slow down. You're too fast for me, Mai. I'm an old man, and I
I
type slowly.
am going to change my shop.
Change?
Yes, change my shop.
Myself? Okay.
No, I am going to have change my shop.
Yeah, there we go. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. All right. Okay.
My shop? My career.
My career?
After I finish my project, after finishing this project,
After I finish what?
this project,
This project?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at this. All right. Okay, I'm glad you I'm glad you have my career. Okay. I am going to have changed. Okay. A verb, I got the verb to be, going to, and then have, and then past participle. That looks good. I'm going to have changed my career after I finish this project. Wait a minute. So which happens first? You finish the project. Wait a minute. You finish the project first, and then you change the career. So I think you have your circle and your X reversed here. All right. You have your interrupting kind of action. Okay. After I finish this project, I am going to change my career. You don't need future perfect here. You can pull off this sentence with this simple future. I'm going to change my career after I finish this project. All right? Because you finish the project first, and then you're doing something after. All right? This won't work. I'm going to have changed my career not after, but before something else happens. Okay?
Okay, understand.
All right, so it would have to be before something, a future date, or before, let's see, let's try before I lose my freaking mind. How about that? How's that grab you? Ah! All right, okay, well, that's before a future action. Okay, with simple present tense, before I lose my mind. Okay, going to have changed my career. I was very, I was getting very worried because I thought you were going to say I was going to have changed myself, and I just so you know, we use change, obviously change to make it something different, obviously, but we also use change to talk about when we remove a baby's diapers. Poo-poo and pee-pee. We change the baby, we take off the diaper, and we put on a new diaper. So it would sound very weird to say, I'm going to have changed myself. It would make it sound like you're wearing diapers and you're changing your own diapers. That would sound very, very weird. So I was very happy that you changed your object down here. Okay. Anyway, that's how that works. Diana, your turn.
When I finish of pay my apartment, I will have started my studies.
When I finish, I'm sorry, again?
Of pay my apartment.
Of finish,
Pay.
of, oops,
No,
pay.
I must pay my apartment. I will have started my studies.
Okay. Let's take a look here. Well, okay, that's time. When I finish, okay, that's simple present. When can denote a time, anytime. All right. When I finish of pay. Now, here's my first little problem, Diana. When I finished, we're not going to have of pay. We're probably going to use either a gerund or an infinitive. Which of is out of the question. That doesn't work. It doesn't fit. Which would fit? Which would be better? When I finish to pay or when I finish paying?
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm not really done. Sometimes you can use, often you can use either the infinitive after your main verb, okay, which is here, finish is your main verb, the main action. Sometimes you can use infinitives, sometimes you have to use the gerund, ing form. Sometimes you can use either. Sometimes you have to use one or the other. Here, I cannot say when I finish to pay. I just can't say that. It won't work. I have to use a gerund. When I finish playing basketball, when I finish mowing the lawn, when I finish drinking this Coca-Cola. I can't say when I finish to drink this Coca-Cola. I just can't do it. Some verbs, you have to use one or the other. With finish, you have to use a gerund. When I finish paying, now, I'm not done with you yet. Okay, when I finish paying for, okay, pay for, you have to pay for something. You have to pay for everything, at least in my reality. Okay, when I finish paying for my apartment, it possibly could be paying off, because pay off, if you pay off something or someone, that means actually complete payment. All right. I paid off the mob not to burn down my store. Okay, I paid them enough money to finish. All right, I paid off my car loan. Okay, so you could be pay off, but pay for also works. All right, now let's look at the whole thing. When I finish paying for my apartment, okay, I will have started my studies. All right, Diana, is it clear that this phrase is future of this phrase, the other phrase?
Yes. Yes, I
Think so?
understand. Yeah.
All right. I will have started my studies when I finish paying for my apartment. Well, actually, I don't think this is going to work because I don't think it's clear that these things don't actually happen at the same time. Okay. Okay. When we can use to basically, we usually mean at the same time, at this exact time. When? At 3 o'clock. When are you coming to the movies? At 3 o'clock. I'll be there at 3 o'clock. That not before, not after. So the problem here is that by using when, it kind of says both of these things are happening at the same time. So the sentence seems a bit awkward. When I finish paying for my apartment, I will start my studies. Now that makes sense. All right, so we have to be very careful about our time clauses to make sure they show one thing happening before the other. Now this is okay. When I finish paying for my apartment, I will start my studies. Okay, now that sounds to me like you're going to finish paying for your apartment first, then as soon as that happens, that's when you will start. Okay, one, then the other. Now this sentence makes sense to me.
But in this case, isn't future perfect, no?
This is not future perfect. That's correct. I changed it because I had to change the verb tense because it did not fit your idea.
Okay. Yes.
All right. I just can't do it with your idea, really. I can't use the future perfect tense. Sometimes the meaning of the words, you can't smash them into a specific verb tense. They just won't fit the concept of the verb tense. All right. Heidi, you want to give this a try?
Okay. I have gone the salon to have my haircut by the end of this month.
I will have gone. Sorry, that was a little fast for me.
I have gone to the hair salon
Okay.
to have my haircut
Uh-huh.
by the end of this month.
Heidi, do you get your hair cut every month? Is it a regular thing?
No, when my hair, front hair bothered me.
Your bangs.
Yes.
The front part of your hair is called your bangs. Yeah. Actually, I use the same method, Heidi. Me too. Same thing. My hair starts to get in my eyes. It must be time for a haircut. All right. Let's see. I will have gone. Well, there it is. There's the future perfect to the hair salon. Okay, and then we have an infinitive clause here. All right, to have my haircut. That's fine. By the end of this month. Clearly a future time. That works for me. All right, that's great. Excellent. Good job. David is gone. Nader.
I will have taken the baby to the hospital
Oh boy.
by the time you are there.
Okay. You are there. Okay, but wait a minute. I like this part. I will have taken the baby to the hospital. Well, I don't like it. It's a kind of scary thought, but I will have taken the baby to the hospital by the time. Okay, I'm still with you here. By the time you are there. Nader, do you think we have a better verb?
By the time you reach the hospital?
Yeah. Okay. By the time you arrive, by the time you reach the hospital, by the time you are there seems a little strange. By the time you exist, that makes no sense because clearly you exist, or I wouldn't be talking to you now. So yeah, it would be definitely odd to just say by the time you are there. You are there. I am here. We exist. So it's kind of.
I just wanted to make sure if it's possible.
Okay. Well, it sounds odd. So I'll use your idea. By the time you reach.
So why can we say I'll be there?
I'll be there. I'll be there at 2 o'clock, like that. Okay. Why can we? I will be there. Well. Okay. I will exist there at 2 o'clock. Okay. Maybe if I. All right. Let's play around with that idea. Okay. Using. By the time you are by the time you are here, no, that still doesn't make sense. It's still weird. Yeah, it just sounds weird. It just I don't know. I'm not sure.
It sounds weird, so we cannot use it.
It just sounds odd. I'm not sure. It's one of those things, I don't know, maybe it's grammatically correct. It is the simple present tense, but boy, it sounds odd. It doesn't sound likely. I think it has to do with the fact that it's a state. It's stative. Okay.
Teacher.
Yes.
We use future perfect with the certain time in the future, right?
Yes, a time in the future before something else. Yes. That's right.
So
Okay.
with the example, I will have taken the baby to the hospital by the time you arrive. So the time you arrive, it is not sure the time, right? So.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, if looking at our little diagram, by the time you arrive, we don't know when in the future this purple X is, which is by the time you arrive. Okay, that's a very good point. Actually, that idea in this diagram is represented by the little orange circle here. We don't know how far or where that extends. That's right. Now, by 3:31 a.m., okay, I could have a specific time or extremely specific, or I can have words or time clauses that express the idea that make it extremely clear. It has to be extremely clear that this purple X happens after the future perfect. Okay, Mai, I'm not sure if I'm addressing your question.
I mean that
Oh, wow. Mai, I really want
to send the baby to the hospital. It means you understand? You got it?
No, I don't, because Mai, you keep cutting out. I really want to, believe me, I really want to hear your question and address it and understand. Because
Yes.
I think what your concern is very important, but I can't hear you because you keep cutting out. Try it one more time. One more time. Try it, please.
Okay. Yes. I mean, with future perfect, we will have to use a certain time. So, for example, I will have taken the baby to the hospital by the time you arrive. I don't see the certain time. I don't see the certain time. So you arrive. We don't know. We don't know when you
That's
arrive.
right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right. Well, by next week, I don't have a certain time either. Before I lose my mind, well, I don't usually put a timer on my insanity. I don't know that time either. Before, well, I do know Christmas, of course. Before I get married, okay, Pablo's I will have bought a house before you. Really? Okay, I will be married at 2:15 in the afternoon, September 30th, 2016. I
Okay.
don't know that either. Okay, so maybe I know exactly when. By the time I turn 30, I know my birthday, but maybe I don't know exactly when before I get married. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be exact. Again, I've already said this like many times, but simple present is the action you arrive by the time you arrive is always in simple present. This is extremely important idea. You cannot use future tenses in time clauses. Neat, 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 neat. Burn this into your brains. You cannot ever use future tenses in time clauses, for example, that begin with when or by the time, at the time. Okay, it's simply not possible. In other words, another way to think about that, when you're playing around with future tenses, there is no way that you can have a compound or complex sentence with two clauses and two verbs, and both of them are future. It cannot happen. It can't happen because the whole reason you're using two clauses together means that you have to use a future tense and another tense. It just plain can't happen. All right. Another circumstance where you would use the future perfect, you may use it to show duration before something in the future. However, you're doing this because you're dealing with stative verbs, verbs that describe a state, like love. I love you. All right, that is a state of being. All right, or ownership. I own it. Okay, that is considered to be sort of a state. It is not dynamic, which means an action, dynamic. Okay, so if it describes a state, it can't have duration because it's not an action, it's just what it is. The sky is blue. I cannot say the sky is being blue. It's not an action, it just is. So, when we use verbs that just describe the way things are, even if the way things are is continuing for a clear period of time, we cannot use continuous ing form, so we will use, instead, we default back to a perfect tense. Same thing happens with past perfect and present perfect.
So if we say I will have returned these books by tomorrow, if we remove by, we can use a simple future. I will return these books tomorrow. That's the difference.
Yep. Very good. Way to keep it simple. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I will return these books tomorrow. Simple future. I will have returned these books by tomorrow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So why would you bother? Why would you bother to use future perfect tense? Well, obviously because you're stressing the fact that an action is going to be completed by another action. So quite clearly, there's no point in using future perfect tense unless you're talking about deadlines, okay, or where the future purple X is actually significant. It really matters that something is done by another time. If it doesn't matter when an action is done in the future, then there's no point at all in using future perfect tense because it's much harder to construct. Right? Nader, do you follow me?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thanks. Okay. Non-continuous verbs and mixed verbs. What are they? Well, mixed verbs are verbs that can be stative, a state, the sky is blue, or it can be an action. My dog is acting crazy. My dog is being crazy. If I mean it's the way somebody's acting or behaving, the verb to be, it can be continuous because they're acting. It's some motion. It's dynamic. If I'm just saying the way they are, the sky is blue, then it is not dynamic. It's a state. So the verb to be itself is a mixed verb. Non-continuous verbs include verbs that show the way things are. I love you. I hate you. Okay, I own a car. I cannot say I am owning a car. It's just completely non-continuous. So we can use future perfect to show this idea. I will have been in London for 6 months by the time I leave. Okay, I certainly cannot say I will have been being in London for 6 months. It totally sounds weird, right? The verb to have is also a mixed verb. By Monday, Susan is going to have had my book for a week. Okay, I certainly cannot say Susan is going to have been having my book for a week, which would be future perfect continuous. It's not going to work. It sounds weird. Verbs that show our emotions, love, hate, all right, or the way talk about our emotions. He seems angry. I can't say he is seeming angry. Or verbs that show ownership. Have, I have a car. I can't say I'm having a car. All right, those are states, and the verbs are stative. So in other words, you just sometimes when it might seem like you would use a continuous tense to show duration, but those verbs are stative or used in the meaning in a stative way, then you use future perfect. Okay, but that's not confusing enough, so let me throw another monkey wrench into the mix. We have a few words. Live, sorry, not live. Sorry, that's the adjective, live. Live, work, teach, and study. These 4 special verbs can be used in a perfect form or a perfect continuous form with the same meaning. All right? It is totally up to you. This is sort of like I have a car, I have got a car. It doesn't matter. You can say it either way, whichever you, the speaker, feel like at that particular moment in time. So I can say by next year I will have been living in the Philippines for 8 years, or I can say by next year I will have lived in the Philippines for 8 years. It really doesn't matter. Makes no difference. So try to remember these, because if you're studying English and you're looking at grammar in particular, you're just going to confuse yourself when you run into these verbs acting like continuous verbs, acting like perfect verbs. They basically are interchangeable. They've got superpowers. All right? They are exceptions, and they can be used either way, and the concept is still there, and you really don't have to concern yourself with their verb tense. You can use them, and they're ridiculously fertile. Okay. All right. Last thing to remember, last thing I want to put in your mind. Never, never, ever, no future in time clauses. For example, with when, while, before, after, by the time, as soon as, if, unless. You cannot have a future tense if your clause is preceded by one of these words. It's just not possible. I am going to see a movie when I will have finished my homework. Am going to see is a simple future tense. All right? I will have finished. He's trying to use future perfect, but it's not going to work here. It's not possible. You're never going to see two clauses with some kind of joining word, a subordinator, or conjunction. Just it can't happen. It doesn't exist in English. You cannot join two future tenses. It won't happen. Okay. Any last questions about future perfect? My time is up. I've got to go. I will have closed the class by the time I finish this sentence.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See ya. Come on. Oopsie.